Hello guys, this is Sabi or SYBLE Angels from SYBLEAngelsmusic.com. Um, Today we want to do a quick tutorial on how to clean your beats, how to make a beat sound so clean and professional. In my area, I'm one of the recommended producers. I recently found out. So a lot of guys come to me and ask me, how do you clean your beats? How do you make your beats to sound professional? So I just thought this is something I can share with you guys so that you can also try and apply it and experiment. So number one, if you need your beats to sound professional, you need to mix them professional. There's a few things you need to do. You need to make sure that your beats are well balanced. You need to make sure that your instruments, and are well penned, and also make sure that the level of your bass is properly set. So quickly, I can open my beat here. This beat is called Gold Boy or Hustle Boy. It's a trap beat. I did it myself. I mixed it myself, and I mastered myself. So you'll see that I did some penning decisions, like a little bit to the right, a little bit to the left, a little bit there and there and there. And if you can also look here, I also did put my 808 on mono. This little thing there. If you're using FL Studio 12, you should be able to see that. And my kick, I have two kicks, but they're not playing at the same time. So they are all pushed to mono. So that is the first thing you need to do. Obviously, all your drums, you must make sure that they're in mono, because it wouldn't really make sense for your kick, your 808, your snare to be stereo. But you can do that. I mean, there's no rule in doing this. So I'm gonna quickly play the beat for like 1 minute or so that you guys can hear what's going on here and with the beat. Then I can start explaining to you why did I make these decisions and why is it important to do that. All right. So this is how the beat goes. So I'm sure you heard how the beat goes. So firstly, I'm gonna start with the kick. I'm just gonna quickly switch to the pattern mode so that we can just see the kick. Sorry, the kick in solid. So this is how the kick sounds solid. This is processed. So without the effects, I'm just gonna switch off the effects here quickly. This is how it sounds. So yeah, so now if you look at this kick, I'm sure you can notice the difference, right? So the first thing I did, I throwed a parametric EQ2, and what I did, I cut everything under 30 kilohertz. I think there's nothing you really need there. It's gonna just make your beats sound muddy and heavy, and they won't be clear, you know. And what I need, because I have my 808 on this beat, so what I did, I cut around 30 kilohertz. Then I also cut around 148, you know. So this is like a low pass filter on 138. I know I don't need anything above there. And actually, this is a high pass filter. Then that is how I did. Then the next thing I did, I obviously the kick was not punchy enough. I just needed a little bit of body to the kick. This is a plugin from Waves. You can buy that from Waves if you can invest in that, or you can use an EQ. What I basically did on this one, I boosted around 60 kilohertz, and I boosted around about 2.1, and the bandwidth is around 2. So basically, if you don't have this plugin, you can use a parametric EQ too. What you can basically do, you just go around 60, I think around about there. You do a little bit of boost, like something like that. That is, I think, around about 60 somewhere there. That's 60, right? Then you do a little bit of boost until you are satisfied with it. So remember, the mixing and the mastering, the best thing you can use is your ears. I know I've been saying this in most of my tutorials, even to the people I teach who come to my studio, but you just have to make sure that whatever you're doing, your mix sounds good to you. And if you can pick a problem, rather fix it before it's too late, you know. So that is the kick. So let me quickly go to the 808. And remember, this kick is side chained to the 808. So every time the kick plays, the 808 is cut. So if you don't know how to side chain, you can comment below. Then I can even do another video on how to side chain. But I strongly recommend that if you are doing tracks like this one specifically, you need to side chain your bass. All right, let's quickly go to the 808. So now, this is how the 808 sounds. So now, what I did, you can also see that the 808 is not that loud in volume, actually. It's actually lower than the kick itself. So what I did with the 808, obviously what I need on the 808 is the sub. I did cut again around 30 kilohertz. Then that's a low cut. Then I did a high cut as well, around 850. You know, I don't really need anything higher than that, and I can still cut further down, but on this one I wanted something to for distortion. You know, I wanted a little bit of the mid frequency, so that when I do my distortion, it's gonna be still clear on the smaller speakers. So this is what I did basically. And I also did cut here. I used this high cut, and I cut around 1.3K. So this is just to make sure that nothing goes, nothing over 1.3 goes without me noticing. So now, another thing which you need to do, you need to make sure that your bass or your 808 or whatever bass you're using, it's got a ceiling. Basically, what that does is, when you put a ceiling, let me quickly demonstrate here. So if you can look nicely here, this ceiling, it's cutting anything which goes beyond it. So right now my ceiling is set on minus 12.2. You can see it right here when you point here. It's set on minus 12.2 dB. So what happens, anything from the 808, even if the 808 hits a higher key or whatever key, it's not gonna go, the volume of the 808 will never go beyond 12.2. So what that will do is, whatever, when you're setting the level of your bass in your mix, that level of bass is going to be consistent throughout the whole beat. So you won't find another place where the bass is like too loud, or another time the bass is like too low, or when it hits a higher key it goes too loud, or like that. So that's very very important, especially in your 808, your bass. If you know that you're playing like in 2 octaves or 3 octaves. I don't know if people really play basses in like 3 octaves, but 2 octaves, of course, I know. If you do this ceiling trick, it's gonna make sure that your bass doesn't get out of hand. Then the snare, um, just a little bit. Actually, I don't know what happened to that snare there, but let's quickly see how we can act with it. We can deal with the snare. All right, I'm not sure where is my snare right now, but that is fine. Let's quickly go to the hi-hats. The hi-hats are also important. I've got my hi-hats here. So if you can see what I did to my hi-hats, of course I did run them through a reverb. I believe that hi-hats, when you send them to a reverb, they sound more cooler, like more nicer. So I use the waves reverb, but you can use any reverb, it's gonna work fine. So what I did to the hi-hats, I basically okay, let me just fix that. I cut anything below 2200. I don't really need anything less than that. So if you can check here, this is where my hi-hats is. So anything below that, it's not necessary. What it's gonna do, it's gonna mess with your mix, and it's gonna make your mix to sound heavier, muddy, and not clean. So if you go through each and every instrument and do that, let me quickly go to one of the instrument, this one. So if you look at this instrument, something is really strange here, because this should be fine. Okay, cool. Let's look at this one. Alright, so obviously that instrument doesn't need any bass. So what I did, I put a high pass filter quickly, then I rolled it around 100. Actually it's 300, around about 300, because on this type of instrument it's bright. I don't really need anything above anything below 300. And what I did here, if I can play it, you'll hear, I'll boost this, like just for you, just to see why did I cut there. There's a little bit of a frequency which I don't want. So if you can go through each and every instrument and try to cut the frequencies which sound bad, that will help you to make your mix to sound more clean and more professional, which is the whole idea of this tutorial. Now, the other thing which I have in my mix is a pad. So this pad is just there like to support my beat, and just to bring that feel, so that you can really feel the beat. Let's hear the pad quickly. Alright, basically on this pad, what I did, the only part I need on this pad is the mids, because I have instruments on the highs, I've got my hi-hats on the highs, I've got my 808 on the lows, and my subs, and my beat is quite balanced. So what I only need on this pad is only the mids. So that's why I did a high pass filter on like around about 300, and I also did a low pass around about 2936 kilohertz. So now what you're basically doing here, you cleaning the frequencies for other instruments to be there. And another thing which I'm going to quickly talk about is the selection of instruments. Samples, okay, sound fronts. I won't really recommend those because they sound cheesy and a little bit blurry, and the quality is not that good. Even if when you're going for your instruments, FL Studio stock plugins are also good. You can use those. You can. I use Nexus for most of my beats. I use the FL Studio stock plugins, and I also use other expansions which I bought from the Nexus. And also, when it comes to your pegs, you need to make sure that your pegs are high quality, or if they are not really high quality, make sure when you are EQing them, you EQ them and make sure that they sound really good. Cut whatever frequencies which are not necessary and get the right frequencies which you need, boost where you need to, and cut where you need to. So a mixture of cutting, a mixture of penning, a little bit of EQing, and balancing will give you a very good mix. Then the other thing, transients. Obviously, for a kick like this one, it's punchy. I don't need to put trans in, but if the kick was not that punchy, I was gonna add a little bit of trans in. So there is a software designed for that called Transin Master, or there's another one called SPL Transin, if I'm right. But for me, I use Transit Master. Should my kick is not really punchy and cutting through the mix, or I'll use Transin. So in this case, I don't need to use Transin, but if in a situation you need to use Transin, um, that would be good. So in this one, I didn't use Transin. So just to quickly summarize what we looked, penning is very important. Make sure you balance your mix. The beat should be very much balanced. The kick, the claps, the snares, obviously they should be in mono, in my opinion, and try to center them. Then these other extra instruments, try to pen them a little bit to the right, a little bit to the left. And when you listen to your headphones, obviously when you're doing penning, I will advise you to put on the headphones and you close your eyes, listen to your mix, and try to hear where uh, the mix is not is like the weight of the mix is. So in a case like there's a lot of instruments on the left, you need to like balance the whole thing. Make sure you have other instruments on the left, other instruments on the right, so that you create a balance. But I wish I could go through this and show you more things on how to balance. But when you close your eyes listening through the headphones, you will hear that this mix is balanced. So another thing we spoke about is cleaning your instruments. So we spoke about cutting unnecessary frequencies so that your mix will sound cleaner, more clear, and more professional. And one more last thing before we finish up, um, selection of instruments. When you're starting a beat, obviously you need your drums and you need some instrument to put on the higher frequencies, and you also need some instruments to put on the mid frequencies. But keep it in mind that um, if you're making a beat for artists to jump on later on, you need to keep it in mind that you need to leave a room for vocals uh, 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 to be added. Because if you fill up everything on the beat, it's gonna be difficult for people to put the vocals on because it's gonna be too full. So make sure that when you're selecting your instruments, don't put too much instruments or too less instruments, but just make sure that your mix is well balanced and everything is nicely put in there. So if you need a tutorial again on how to master, I can still continue on this beat and see how we can go about mastering this beat. But as far as mixing, this beat is properly mixed and everything is properly done. So if you have any questions, please comment below on the comment section, and also subscribe to our channel. I should be doing more tutorials on how to mix and how to master beats. And later on, we should be doing tutorials on mixing and mastering vocals. We're also getting a little bit of request on that. So subscribe to our channel so that when we have a new video, you'll just get it right away. And request videos. If you have any questions, comment below, and see you in the next video. Enjoy, guys. I love you so much, and enjoy the beat.